Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. Time to review the latest dinosaur survival film. This one, from the director of The Man That Brought Us It Follows, is called The End of Oak Street. Ha 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 ha!
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. Now, The End of Oak Street is a 2026 American science fiction survival film that was written and directed by David Robert Mitchum. Now, the film stars Anne Hathaway, Ian McGregor, Maisie Stella, and Christian McCovery. Now, in this film, the Platt family bands together to navigate their new surroundings after a cosmic event that transports their suburban neighborhood to some place prehistoric. Uh-oh, dinosaurs in suburbia. Oh no. Now, there is a question that most horror fans ask when it comes to the 1993 film Jurassic Park. Is it a horror film? Now, I actually had that discussion with my lovely wife Kelly, and she does not consider that a horror film, although most people do consider that a horror film. Now, that's basically because we've seen dinosaurs in plenty of films before famed American director Steven Spielberg gave us that fantastic Jurassic Park film, which went on to become a franchise, and people still go see it today no matter how bad the films get. Now, I'm not talking about dinosaurs in films that were meant for children. I'm talking about films like The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, The Beast from Hollow Mountain, and one of my favorites, The Valley of Guanji, that was made by the great Ray Harryhausen. Can never get enough of that film. Now, after Jurassic Park came out, movie studios have tried their best to create horror films that include dinosaurs because they want to get that success that Jurassic Park has made. We have films such as Connoisseur, Extinction, 65, and Primitive War. They are some of the latest horror films that include dinosaurs in them. Now, some of those films are pretty good. I know my good friend Marty from the Trash Picture Show, he really did enjoy Primitive War. I actually did enjoy 65, and some of the others are not so good, like Connoisseur. We won't talk about that film. Now, American filmmaker David Robert Mitchum, who gave us the 2014 horror film It Follows, brings us his latest project and entry into this premise. This one is called The End of Oak Street. Taking place in 1982, we're introduced to the Platt family. We have Denise Platt, who is an aspiring novelist, her husband Greg, and their two children, Audrey and Brian, and their dog Starbuck. Now, they seem to be the typical suburban family living in a nice, living in a nice neighborhood called Oak Street. They look like the picture perfect suburban family. You got the house, you got the wife and the husband, you got the daughter and family, you got the dog. Typical American family. Now, after a couple nights of seeing some weird flashing lights across the neighborhood, the Flats discover that Starbucks is missing the next morning. Now, while looking for the missing dog, Denise and Greg are suddenly attacked by a creature that looks like a dinosaur. What the hell's going on? After barely surviving that attack and looking around the neighborhood, they realize that part of Oak Street has somehow been transported into a prehistoric area, complete with dangerous dinosaurs. Oh no, what are they going to do? Now, horror fans, I find this a bit interesting because the man that gave us It Follows will create this kind of a horror film as his next project. I mean, we've seen plenty of horror films that have dinosaurs in them, and some of them were not that good at all. As I said, a couple of them already. I mean, it's an interesting premise if you take a look at it. You take a nice suburban family that everything seems to be good. All of a sudden, you transport them into a land 65,000 years ago, and in this time period, and they have to fight for their lives in order to survive. It's a pretty interesting premise. Easy one, too. And I'm also happy to say that David has given us a very good and decent survival horror film with this one. I really did enjoy this particular film. I mean, one, I like the fact that he decided to have this film take place in 1982 and not modern times because it would be interesting to see how people would survive during that time period. I mean, there are no smartphones, there are no modern technology, there's no cameras everywhere, and David does a good job of showing how people would survive with the limited technology that they had in that time. I mean, even at that time, people were still using actual typewriters. Kind of reminded me of my mother's old Corona typewriter that she had. That's why I was so interested in typing because I love that. And we get to see all that play out in here. They still actually have full libraries. There's no digital technology at all. People have to go out the way in order to do any type of investigation, and we get all that here. David does a good job in also making the film look like it's taking place during the early 80s, too. I love how David shows the family dynamics early in this film as we know that will actually have an effect on how the family and how they'll deal with the situation they find themselves in later on in the film. It also gives us an interesting character developments in early in the film. We get to see what type of woman Denise is. We get to see what type of man Greg is. We get to see how Audrey and Brian are. We get to see all that family dynamics and their characters that will also play in well in the film. Now, David relies on the family dynamics and their interactions with each other what drives this particular film. It's not about the dinosaur, it's about the whole family. It's about Denise, Greg, Audrey, and Brian. I thought that's the centerpiece of this film. So if you're actually looking for a whole bunch of dinosaurs, you'll be sadly mistaken. I mean, there's dinosaurs in here, but this is not a Jurassic Park film or a Jurassic World film, if that's what you're looking for. Now, despite the smiles Denise and Greg show to their neighbors, they're actually hiding secrets from them and their children. But one thing I did like is that Audrey and Brian are quite aware of the situation. They're not stupid. They know that that Denise and Greg are having problems, and as we get look at the film, they're on the verge of separating and divorce. No, not surprised because we have very good actors in Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor. They have great chemistry with each other, and I love the back and forth that they have with each other, especially in the second act of the film when Denise confronts Greg with his optimistic and passive aggressive behavior, and then he bounces back with Denise's secret novel. That has a direct cause and effect in this particular film because you know they're hiding something with each other. We see that early part in the film, and that explodes during the second act of the film, and it has direct consequences when they go after each other. Now, I like Maisie Stiller and Christian Covery as Audrey and Brian, but I do thought that Brian whined a bit too much in this particular film. He, to me, has kind of the least kind of character development because we don't get to know him that much, but he seems kind of weak, seems kind of not sure of himself right there, and I thought they really did not do a good job exploring his character. However, they all do a great job with the script that David has written so that the audience cares what happens to them. And we all hope that they will survive the environment that they find themselves in. Now, David does a great job in creating the type of atmosphere because you like the fact that they're in this nice, quiet neighborhood, and all of a sudden they get transported into this environment, and they start sketching. They have really no clue about how they're going to get out of that, and also creates a type of suspense and tension you need for a film like this. But he also does a great job to make sure this doesn't look like another Jurassic World ripoff. Now, the film does has its flaws, as some of the choices the plots make are not smart. We have the children in danger cliche, and then adding in Jeanette really didn't make any sense to me because she serves no purpose for this film other than I guess supposed to be some type of a crush Brian has on her. But it doesn't add anything else to the film. She's just there, and then we just all of a sudden kind of forget about her. I thought the dinosaur effects were real good, but not enough to make the dinosaurs terrifying. And if you're expecting any gore in this particular film, you're going to be very disappointed. Again, this is not Jurassic World or any other Jurassic films, but we do get some dino attacks in here. We get some feeding that happens, of course, but no real type of gore. Now, like I said, the dinosaur effects are pretty good, but some of them are not. There is one particular scene I guess David thought was supposed to be funny. I'm not going to mention it, but if you've seen the film, I'm pretty sure you're going to you know what I'm talking about. Out of all the dinosaur effects, that effect was terrible. Now, I do have to talk about how the film ends, and it kind of goes into what causes the how they get transported into the film. It makes sense logical sense. I like the explanation. We don't get a huge exposition dump. We get a very explanation of what's causing this. But I believe that David thought this would be an interesting twist, especially what happens during the third act of the film. It's how they figure out what's happening and how what happens and during the third act of the film. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will not like it. As for me, it just didn't make any sense to me. It loses when you do what David does at the end of the film. For me, it kind of loses the emotional beats that took place during the I would say during the ending of the third act of the film. And since he decided to go that route, to me, I thought it was a cop out. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil what happened, but if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about right here. I just thought to say you're going to go that route. I guess that's okay for some people. For me, I thought it'd been better if they just would have kept what the events happen and not do that trick that he does at the end of the film. But I guess, it's really up to you whether you like it or like it. But I think a lot of people are probably going to complain about that one. And for me, like I said, I didn't like it because I thought it was a cop out. However, I still did enjoy the film. I really thought it was nicely placed. I was very entertained. It has some exciting and funny moments, some decent acting from all the cast, and some pretty sure dinosaur effects as well. Like I said, this isn't Jurassic World, this isn't Jurassic Park, but I did enjoy this particular film. So I'm going to give the end of Oak Street 3 out of the Miser's 5 bloody gold coins. Like I said, I really did enjoy the film. I thought that I did very well acted by every one of the cast members, despite some of the flaws his films has. I really did enjoy this particular film. So if you're interested, go see The End of Oak Street. So there you have it, horror fans. That is my video and review of The End of Oak Street. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Have you seen The End of Oak Street? What are your thoughts about it? Leave your comments in the comment section below to tell you about your thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Mizamani G, and always remember, horror rules. And I see you in my next video. You guys stay safe out there.